How does the movie Oppenheimer grab you even in its quietest scenes? Most people think Oppenheimer's genius soundtrack is due to flashy technical effects. But after 20 years of editing broadcast TV commercials, I discovered that the key to cinematic sound boils down to 5 simple steps. So in this video, I'll show you what those steps are and how to master the art of sound design so your work finally starts attracting higher-end clients. Here's the first thing you need to know, and it's actually something you need to stop doing. Editors make a big mistake. They dive right into a scene, start using various techniques, but without a clear goal in mind. How do I know this? That was me, my first few years as an editor. It wasn't until my first mentor showed me that editing is all about emotion and story that my editing changed and it kicked off my career. And that's exactly what we need to do here, even with sound design. So stop diving in without a plan. Instead, decide on a target emotion for your scene first, then use all of your editing skills and technique to reinforce that emotion. Let's see this in action. I'm going to play a clip from Oppenheimer, and as you watch it, I want you to try to figure out what emotion editor Jennifer Lam was targeting.
3 years, 4,000 people, $2 billion. Well, if it doesn't go off, we're both finished.
I'm betting on 3 kilotons. Anything less, they won't get what it is.
What did Fermi mean by atmospheric ignition?
Well, we had a moment where it looked like the chain reaction from an atomic device might never stop. Setting fire to the atmosphere.
And what was Fermi still taking side bets on it?
Call it gallows humor.
It may be different for you, but for me, this scene is pure tension. Yes, the techniques matter, but only because of what they make us feel. Now that we have a target emotion, let's see how it can shape our other sound choices, starting with background ambiances. I always start with background ambiances because it provides a nice bed for the dialogue to sit in and it sets an emotional tone. Now, too many editors, when they're starting out, myself included, just use the production audio they're given. But if you really want to elevate your scene, you need to find those background ambiances that really elevate that emotional target. Take Oppenheimer, for example. In this scene, it's raining, so the background ambiances is a rainstorm or thunderstorm. But I guarantee you they didn't just pick any thunderstorm. They auditioned, who knows, hundreds of different sounds to find the one that brought out the most tension. So don't settle for what's already in your timeline. Try a few different background sounds and pick the one that pushes your scene toward the emotional target you picked in step 1. And once you've built that ambience bed, your dialogue will have a nice place to sit. So now let's shift to talking about a couple of things that will change how you think about dialogue. First, feel free to push and pull the placement of the dialogue, especially if it's not shown on screen. Need more energy? Tighten it up. Need more introspection? Add space. In this clip in Oppenheimer, for instance, the conversation moves really fast, and odds are the actors didn't deliver their lines at this speed on set. Take, for instance, these 2 lines. My guess is that it was trimmed in the edit because there's only an 8-frame pause between the 2 lines.
What did Fermi mean by atmospheric ignition?
Well, we had a moment where it looked like the chain reaction from an atomic device might never stop.
Here's another tip. When I started editing, I used to always pick the cleanest takes from actors or voiceover artists, and I would throw away the takes with little imperfections. But later in my career, I realized that sometimes it's those little vocal nuances or vocal quirks that make a performance seem authentic, just like this line from Matt Damon.
What did Fermi mean by atmospheric ignition?
Did you catch that? The little mouth noise he made before he delivered his line? I think that really brings an authenticity, and I think it builds tension as well. So don't neglect that when you're choosing takes in your edit or when you're working on your sound design. You might be wondering why we haven't talked about music yet. Well, I like to build the emotional base with ambience and dialogue first. Since music is so powerful when it comes to emotion, I find that if I start with it in my timeline, it can sometimes trick me into thinking I've hit all my emotional targets when really I haven't done everything I can yet. So I like to get my ambience and dialogue working first, and then I shift to music, which is the next step. I think we often dive into a music search without a clear goal in mind. I'm guilty of this myself. We get overwhelmed, we lose our way, and it can be really frustrating. Now imagine starting your search with an emotional target in mind, like tension. And maybe you're searching in a music library where you can filter by instrumentation and you choose orchestral score.
What was Fermi still taking side bets on it?
Call it gallows humor.
And now I'll show you how to elevate your sound even further as we add the small details that bring a scene to life. Just like with background ambience, don't settle for sound captured on set. Ask yourself, what specific sounds can I add to amplify the emotional target? In this Oppenheimer clip, you can hear the subtle rustle of clothes as the character gets up.
Are we saying there's a chance that when we push that button, we destroy the world?
And in addition to the thunderstorm and rain ambiances, there are strategically placed thunderclaps like this one, which fits perfectly between two lines of dialogue.
We're both finished.
I'm betting on 3 kilotons. Anything less, I won't get what it is.
These tiny details make the world feel real, and the quality of the sounds themselves add to the tension. So go through clip by clip in your next edit and ask yourself, is there a sound I could add or swap out to elevate my target emotion? And even if a sound was recorded on set, like for instance, let's say there's a door knock in the scene you're working on, well, it might not hit the emotional target you're going for, and you might want to try replacing it with a sharper knock or a harder knock, depending on the mood you want. So experiment until each sound hits those emotional marks. Now you know how to craft sound design that makes your scenes hit hard emotionally, but here's the secret of top editors. Sound design is even more critical as you transition from scene to scene. So watch this video to learn 4 cinematic scene transitions that will take your editing to the next level. Happy editing.